we're all here.
No.
Holy
not possible.
Crap.
Absolutely not possible.
We're just avatars. We're not actually here.
We're all AI.
Yeah.
We're sitting in a scoop next to Neo.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
Good to see her, good to see my bearded brethren.
GPT right now.
That's right. Oh yeah, we all got beards of some sort.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
Old guys with
There's
beards.
facial hair going on, one way or
The
another.
new name of the show, Old Guys with Beards. That should be the new
Old
name.
guys with beards. Hey, so I just joined the Old Guys Club. I am officially 50 as of Sunday.
You're
Happy
50 now.
birthday.
Your life is over. So just welcome to our
Kids.
club.
You're such
Wait,
a
wait.
babe.
I can feel the weather coming in my knees now. I didn't know I was going to gain this ability.
I have a
can
question
taste
for you.
Snow now. You can taste when snow is coming now. You'll be able to
Yes,
taste
I can.
it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So my question to you
Yeah, but he
is-
lives in Florida, so he can't
never
test it.
knows.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
that's true. No, get up the panhandle a couple times. So anyway,
So RPG, is it true? Guy had someone ask me this. Is it true that you literally go barefoot everywhere you go?
Every day, all day, as much as I possibly can. Even when I'm going to go do a library talk now, and I'm going to do it barefoot, just to have people kind of be like, why? And then I go into explaining about being connected with the earth and that shoes are coffins for our feet, and it's all part of the psyop to disconnect us from the mother or whatever you believe created us. And 100%, it will change your vibration. It will change how you feel. Every morning I walk out on the farm, on that Bigfoot family farm, that Bigfoot food forest in Newport Richey, and I do all my chores barefoot. And people, oh, gross. Yeah, I step in chicken shit. I step on sharp. I step on everything. But my feet are building up. My feet are actually widening. Like the natural foot is supposed to be like a Bigfoot foot. That's the real foot. What we have put in with hammer toe and all these problems with our walk and back and everything, that all comes from wearing coffins on your feet. Let go of it. Let go. Let go, Neo. Wake up, Neo. Barefoot's the source.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I
What's
did
funny
not
is
know that.
I lived right near where you were. And when I first bought my farm, I went ahead and I would wear my Birkenstocks around all the time, the sandals, the open toe, until the first time I got fly eggs inside my foot and they started hatching and turning into larvae. And that's when my doctor said, don't ever go barefoot on your farm.
Okay. Your doctor,
Wow.
I want his direct line to talk to him because that's BS. What happened to you? We should break that down in another show. But I walk barefoot every day. And I'm talking every day I got to go into my kitchen and clean chicken shit off my feet. And I have the most robust immune system possible.
Yeah. But unfortunately, an immune system doesn't touch parasites. And I had a horse farm. So fly larva was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So now that everybody knows all this, hey, welcome to ParaGeeks.
Go barefoot. Don't listen.
Now that we're all sick. Just
Not
saying.
really. Well, we were sick before we got on the air, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. True.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump right in here because I know RPG's got a skedaddle because he's got a big talking to go do.
Also, happy Earth Day, everyone. Happy Earth Day.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Let's talk about the weirdness of this Earth that makes it still exciting, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, you're
talk
looking
about
at
Earth.
most of it right here on the screens.
It's true. Too much handsome in one location.
Happy first day of the 9 Nights of Odin. Thank him for doing his sacrifice where he trained himself to Yggdrasil for 9 days to bring us the knowledge of writing and runes. So there you go.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like
cool.
That's like one step above fire, if you ask me.
Hey, he promised an end to
the
all
ability
trolls.
to pass knowledge on, between generations verbatim, and not as spoken lore, changed everything. That's where our technology world comes from. Is we, starting with the Egyptians, and I know some people say it was, whatever, but it was the Egyptians. They actually still hold the record for the oldest writing. And look what they were able to do.
What were they able to do?
They
had these buildings that were really awesome.
Buildings. Got it.
But just remember though, Just remember, though, Cleopatra is closer to the iPhone than she was to the people who built the pyramid. So
yes, she was.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
she
kind of
was.
cool. I never. That's
Yeah.
That's a way
Yep.
to look
Yeah,
at that.
they-
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
That
Relativity is
civilization was
fun.
ridiculously long-winded.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna jump into so RPG. When I first met RPG, I think, Ryan is he's just a crazy Bigfoot guy, right? Just all Bigfoot, 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 Bigfoot. And then once you peel back the Bigfoot layers to the center of his core, he's actually about cryptid marine animals, correct?
That's where I started. I mean, one could argue ghosts because I grew up in New England in the haunted houses, but I was always drawn to the ocean because that scared me the most. Hands down.
Because we don't know what's truly in the ocean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we would spend more time discovering what's in our waters than what's out in the space, then I think
If I'm doing my math correctly, you actually were born the year Jaws came out. So you were born under the
76?
sign of shark.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
he was born under the sign of shark.
Still to this day, scared to swim in a swimming pool at night alone because of that movie. That's how powerful
In a
and
swimming
fearful
pool.
I am of water.
That's
in a swimming
really
pool.
taking it to the
Poor
extreme.
little Alex Kittner.
Oh, poor
Yeah,
Alex
yeah.
Gittner. Oh, that's funny. So let's talk about your first thing here. We're going to talk about Nessie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
So explain to us the Nessie.
Yeah, of course.
Eerie. Truly what you think it is.
Okay, so if we're gonna go into Loch Ness just for a moment, obviously it's we all want it to be a plesiosaur because of the most famous image of all, right? Where it looks like a plesiosaur, which we have found out is actually fake. And who knows? Maybe back in the day, someone really knew that tourism was key, right? And you could get a lot of people to go if you develop this thing. So anybody has a town that's starting to go under, I recommend creating a monster, and people will come. Anyway, you have this very famous picture, but what is really going on in the loch? And I think any good citizen scientist first has to start with the facts, right? So let's just lay out what's going on in the loch. Could it be a plesiosaur? Sure, it connects to the ocean. Yeah, but we haven't found any of those, and those have supposedly been, extinct for millions of years. Not that I buy into any of that evolution or any of that crap, or even dinosaurs for the most part, but it's fun to think about. But what's in the loch, all right? So they did a study, and they did a recent study as of this year, once again mapping out the genome with environmental DNA of the loch. Now, 80% of it is sheep, humans, different types of fish, pike, things that we know. But there's this 20% of unknown. And the majority of that 80% is actually eel. Okay? So you think eel. Eel is like, in our culture, we're brought up to think, when we think aliens, we think giant spaceship. We don't think small spheres. We don't think orbs. We don't think little. We think big. We think Hollywood. So eels are like this bastard cousin that we give no credit to, but they're everywhere. They're in our rivers. They're in our oceans. They are prolific. It's actually a type of fish, an elongated, beautiful fish. So what happens? What happens if you have the right environments for a fish like that to not leave the loch? So what we know about European eels, we'll just dial in on the loch. All eels in the world all go to the Sargasso Sea, which is part of the Bermuda Triangle, to breed and then die. But what if they don't? What happens to those specific eels? And what happens to those eels if they live in a loch where the depths are correct, they have enough food source to survive, and they undergo something, I don't want to ruin this, I wrote it down, neoteny, which is basically they don't sexually develop. It slows the conditions at the bottom of the loch are like going into cryostasis. It slows everything down. And also we know atmospheric pressure and increased oxygen levels, but in this particular case, atmospheric pressure down there can increase the size of life. These are the things. Atmospheric pressure and oxygen increase the size of things before the pre-flood era. That's another whole sidebar. We won't go down there. So you have these individuals that if they don't develop sexually, they have the potential through neoteny to grow exponentially and grow. And we're not talking growing to 100 feet and becoming like a Leviathan or something. We're talking exactly what people are seeing, 15 to 25 foot something in the water that undulates and moves in a very interesting manner. So what would a giant eel move like? What would a giant eel look like? And the proof is coming out now. I can send you a link to this gentleman who breaks it down. But basically, they have proven through through the genetic makeup of what's in the bottom of the loch that they tie it to giant eel. So that 20% of unknown in the loch is actually related to eel. So genetically, it's eel. Acoustically, they've picked up bloops, or just kind of like in the deep ocean, they hear these things, which is not a rhythmic, but it's a sound made with air bladders. And they theorize that whatever is big enough, whatever is making these bloops, has to have a air bladder or cavity roughly the size of like a car, like a small car. So once again, there is something massive at the bottom of the loch living just outside of you. Now, they also this year, I believe it was March 12th or whatnot, they have a thing called a Scrappy, a BRUV. It's a stationary baited monitoring system that's 45 feet deep down in Eckhart Bay. Okay. Now, they have caught, because everyone always says, like, how can a giant thing exist in the loch? There's not enough food for it.
Right.
Dude, they're seeing 4-foot pike. They're seeing massive salmon. They're seeing things that into the mid to the lower range, we just didn't think existed because we're not catching them on top. We're not seeing them on top. So there is a food source for a giant down there. Now, Scrappy, 45 feet deep, which isn't even that deep. Those are the 4 most famous images, which unfortunately, most of them are bunk. But Scrappy was able, on the edge, in the silty water, on the edge of its peripheral, it caught something moving too fast to capture at 30 frames per second. So they are actually going to be upgrading it to 120 frames per second because they believe we're moving out of myth now. We're moving out of it's a dinosaur. We're moving out of that crap. And we're going, no, it is 100% or 99% a giant eel, and there is a relic population down there that through Narotny is living in what we once thought was just a dead zone at the bottom. But what we now know is there is enough food source down there for a large relic species of giant eel. And it's going to come out. It may not be this year, but once Scrappy gets dialed in, once we get more tech down there, because that's always been the problem. We don't put enough money at these things. Once we get a team like the ParaGeeks in there with time and money to focus, what we are going to pull out of that loch is a 15 to 25 foot giant eel. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what is in Loch Ness. And until that is proven or disproven, I will stand and die on this soapbox. Mic drop.
Okay, just
like
a little background from memory. The loch is 23 miles long and in some places as much as 900 feet deep. Is that correct?
Yes, and you could fit every person in the world in the loch. That's how big and deep the loch is. Every person in the world, at least a toe in the water. Everyone. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's an inland ocean in some ways. Mostly because of its depth, and the depth is the result of the fact that these lochs are between huge cliffs, and so they just run super deep. But at 23 miles long, there is ample place for a 15-foot something, a 20-foot, 25-foot something. Now, there was video that came out recently. I mean, I love your theory. Okay, I think going at it and hitting the data points that we have, getting rid of the fact that apparently you're saying that there's no such thing as plesiosaurs. That was kind of a joke. Nobody cares.
I agree.
But we've got something in there. Now, there's some latest footage, isn't there, that just came out?
Yeah, we've had 2 sightings, confirmed sightings as of this year, March 1st and March 5th. March 1st was in person from a boat 15 feet away. The first image well, actually, it wasn't the first image. We don't have footage of that. This was one of those, like, oh my God, is this happening moments? And then the other one is from the Inverness webcam, where it's about 200 yards away. And that first picture you showed was actually the image. And then I tried to sharpen the image with AI and bring it up. So the one on the right is me trying to bring that into focus, just so everybody knows.
It's your own augmenting.
Yes.
Yeah, based on the core. I think that's the one in the bottom right is your augmented, isn't it?
No. Those
Right
those
now?
4 are from the web. Those are the 4 most famous, starting with the upper left. That's the original one.
There we go.
Yes, that
Those are
one there
yours.
I augmented. Yeah. And what is it called? It's a wave line. I got to send you this link. This guy breaks it down so
Yeah, the wave
beautiful.
crest. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. An eel of that size would not move in a traditional manner like this. It would come. First of all, it would either have gas bladder issues or because of hunger is the only reason it would come up. These things stay they're like Bigfoot. They are never coming out unless something odd happens. So 99% of the time, that's why it's rare to see them. And when they come up, an eel like of that size would coil, and that coiling effect would create this rolling, this humps that people are seeing. So, dude, everything plays into it being a giant eel. It's a wonderful starting point to approach and prove or disprove before we move forward with Loch Ness.
It would be similar to the reports that they have out of Lake Iliamna in Alaska. Sort of the same sightings.
All lake monsters. I'm just going to put it out there. All of them.
Mhm.
And I'm open to it being other wonderful things, and I want other wonderful things. All of them are giant eel. All of them. Yep.
And there's no that is not outrageous, except for one thing. If they've got these big bladders, okay, air, gas bladders, not urine bladders, but if they've got these large bladders, when they die, why are we not finding any bodies?
The eels themselves.
Why doesn't anything float?
I mean, I have no idea. I'm assuming if they stay at the bottom and they are sitting at the bottom, once you release, I mean, the bladders deflate and then they're eaten almost immediately. And there are different layers, so the pressure keeps them down. Or maybe they're like apex predators here on land. When they are going to die, unless it's a sudden violent thing, they go hide. And where do they hide? They hide in the crevices and the little caves, which make them even harder to find. And they die in there. The scientists speculate something of that size could grow, or with neurotony could be 100 years old. These could be ancient creatures like we have with crocodiles and other things that can live for a very long time if conditions are right. So, and who knows what level of intelligence they achieve at that age, right? Like, once again, we can't approach it as specious. We need to approach it as maybe they're intelligent. Maybe they're as smart as octopus at that. Who knows? We don't know. It's just exciting because if Scrappy, if that footage from Scrappy is true, and I'm going to believe it for now, then we can get near them, and they do come up to hunt and look around. They're curious. And what is curiosity denote? Intelligence. So that is the actual footage we're looking at now from the Inverness webcam, which shows a shape in the distance. Now this is my CGI representation of what the gentleman saw on March 1st. Okay. And the reason it's got that slight spine, that little bit, is because from my perspective, I wanted to wink at the audience and say, I really do think it's an eel. And that's before I just listened to this amazing update by this gentleman, which, like I said, I will show you. He breaks it down in a manner that you guys will wonderfully respect. That is supposed to be the gentleman that actually saw it. And like awesome. Anyone. Yeah. And then I'm starting to do these viral videos to get the word out.
Happened within days of each other.
Yeah.
It happened on March 1st in person, and March 5th via webcam. Would have never
now, also, we need to be aware that down at the bottom, or actually all through the lake, it is riddled with caves.
Yes.
Absolutely riddled with caves. Yep. And so the idea that, it's either bottom or top is a false dichotomy, because there is a massive amount of left to right that can go on with all these caves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's life in the caves, and where the caves connect to is something else.
Right.
I remember there were studies on that, and they didn't find any connection because there's no salt water, leading in at all.
Yep.
Nor can they find any kind of an outlet where it might be, bleeding out into salt water. But that doesn't mean it's also not connected to other lochs in the area. And if you're only talking about a 20-foot eel,
yep.
I mean, give me a break. Okay, the room I'm sitting in is 20 feet diagonally. And so something like
huge.
that, not that hard for it to, snake through. And you got to think of it. I mean, eels are water snakes.
Yep.
And, there's a bazillion snakes out there. How many have you ever seen? And there are some big ones. Look at the not the anacondas, but the boas that have gotten loose down in the
Burmese
Everglades.
pythons.
Okay.
Yep.
Burmese pythons. They're massive. And, but go down there 1,000 times. You won't find one.
Nope.
But we know they're there. But it's not deep. That's the difference, and we've got roads running all through them now. So no, this is probably one of the most plausible explanations I've heard, until you get to the part where people say, oh, he crossed the road in front of me.
Now listen, let me add this little caveat, okay? Because
1938, I think.
Yeah, the eels explain in my opinion, everything seen in all the lakes and rivers in the world when something like this comes up. But I am friends with a lead researcher there at the loch, and she goes, yes, I love the eel thing, and that could be one of the culprits. But there are instances of something getting out and their footprint tracks. Now, my immediate thought, hoaxers, right? Immediate thought, just that's what I would do as a kid. Like, oh, I'll have fun with this.
Yep.
But she speaks very seriously about it, I guess I should say, and saying that there is one thing. And like anything, like with Bigfoot, there could be other culprits involved, whether it's dogman or hoaxers or wraiths or whatever else it is. There could be something else going on because of the caves, because of the interesting geological layout of that particular area. But yeah, I haven't dove in that direction. It's almost like, let's prove that there's eels first or not, and then, okay, we'll address footprints.
Right. And then we'll look at things beyond that. Go ahead, John.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a large mud skipper?
Not in Loch Ness, but some of the U.S. ones could be.
Yeah, maybe they're prone to giantism as well under right conditions. And that's
I just
a lot of
the only thing that throws this whole thing off in terms of the the underwater eel concept is the one picture with the flipper.
That was already been
underwater shot. What's that?
Already been disproven. That one's already been disproven. They went back down and found the log that it is. It is a log.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's complete bogus. Yeah. Again, that water is so murky. You can't see 2 feet in front of your face down there.
Of course.
Now, as for not finding bodies, we have found bodies. It's usually one of those anomalies we find. They found this weird blob. They found this weird thing, and that is something that's floated to the top that's been decayed, and we can't identify it because the bones aren't there anymore. Well, that's what some of this is, and I guarantee you that's part of it. If it's not, tentacles from a colossal squid, that's what some of this is. And I'm still a big fan of sturgeons and oarfish. Lots of big oarfish have been seen in a lot of the rivers, and I think Lake Norman sea monster, 100% it's a giant oarfish. We've seen giant oarfish in that river.
Yep,
and everybody wants it to be the plesiosaur, but it isn't. Gang, they're out in the ocean. That was the Pensacola sea serpent.
Yep, I will add one final thing to it, and then we got a lot of fun stuff to discuss. But what is a very interesting aspect of eels, because they are a dynamic species, they can and will cross land. So I tried to dive into it to see if an eel that would grow and to be 80, 100, 120 years old, if it's back, what are those, the vestigial or where they grip on and so they can mate, what if those grow? What if they got big enough and had a basic appearance of something? So if something this size did get out and move to go to the Sargasso Sea, or just to go to Loch Mora, which is another place that has a ton of things, but it's even more remote. What if they do grow just slightly things? So they do kind of have feet, so to speak, but I couldn't find anything on it, and that's emerging. So, but I'll just give that to you. Eels can cross land.
Right. Like a mud skipper.
Fascinating.
Yep.
Like a mud skipper.
Back to the mud.
When is a mud skipper not a mud skipper?
When it's an eel.
When it's an eel.
Exactly.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Well,
So Mark,
Awesome.
My
Awesome
man.
Yeah.
stuff.
So now
Yeah.
we're going to talk about. I don't even know what to think of this thing.
Oh yeah, it's the anniversary, the 49th anniversary of the Dover Demon.
Yeah.
This was seen over a period of 3 nights in Dover, Delaware. The first one was a couple kids out riding. It's always a teenager, the first sighting usually.
Of course.
And he saw this thing along a stone wall. It had very long, weird arms with long fingers and toes. He thought at first it was like a raccoon, and then he realized it didn't have any hair, and then it had this huge bulbous head with glowing eyes that turned to look at him. Now he said, "Oh my God." And his friend looked over and caught it, scaling back over the wall. So he didn't get a good look at it. But that first guy saw it and was like, "Oh my gosh." And then 2 hours later, he didn't tell anybody till the next day. 2 hours later, on that same road, just a little ways away, another kid saw it. And he was biking home after having a nice night with his girlfriend. And he was coming home late, so he didn't want to tell his parents he'd been out late. And then he saw this, and it shook him so much to his core, and it was walking to him on 2 legs. Now, this drawing is from the first kid. He drew this. Now, what makes it like, okay, it's a couple kids, it's a prank, something that night, whatever. The next day, a young girl sees it about 2 miles away, describes it exactly the same thing. And the only difference is in hers, the eyes didn't go orange. They maybe reflected green. She just remembered them being very bright and very shiny. So again, 2 miles away, she had no idea about the other kids. It hadn't been reported in the news or anything yet. So she basically corroborates the story. And then we have one more sighting a couple days later, but that one we think may have been, I just want to jump in on the story, because by that time it had broken and everything else. So what was it? Could be a raccoon with mange. Could be always
because their digits do look very long when they don't have the fur down over them. But they don't generally walk on their hind legs for any extended period. They'll stand on them. They don't walk.
But they don't walk on it. Yeah, no.
There's no bulbous head either.
No. When their heads are,
you
they're
don't know
still
when
rat-like.
they're hairless. What do they look like? Could be kind of weird.
They're more rat-like. They look more like a skunk's head.
Yeah.
When they're hairless and stuff. So it's
So what time of year was that?
This was this time of year. So it was April of 1977. So that comes and goes, heat and winter. It's like now we're 80 degrees today, and tomorrow we're 39 degrees at night. We have all 4 seasons in a day right now. So it could have been anything.
Did that inspire E.T.? Because it should have.
Because it's 77, so it was right before that. This was right after.
Yeah, E.T. came out in 82.
Yeah, we got to remember that this was the year of Star Wars. So, but Star Wars was May, so and June, and everybody forgets Star Wars didn't just come out all at once. It was limited release.
It had to travel across the country.
Yeah. So,
but I'm pretty sure that this was an eel.
I hate to agree, but I agree.
It was a bear with mange.
I think it was a mud skipper. I'm just saying.
Of course.
I go back to the 1940s and 1950s when we could order animals out of the back of a comic book.
Right.
Oh, so it's a sea
this?
monkey. Oh my God, it is a sea monkey.
No,
Bring
before the sea monkeys,
it is a sea monkey.
Before the sea monkeys, you could order monkeys out of magazines. Yes. You could order hyenas out of magazines. You could order a lot of weird things out of magazines. My father bought a monkey. He mailed away for a monkey with my uncle, and then they got it, and after a day it escaped, and they never saw it again. So these things get out there, they start breeding. That could be something like that.
Maybe when they were first selling sea monkeys, they really were like the pictures, and they would grow like that. You remember the guy with the crown? Remember him?
Yeah.
I gotta buy that.
These were the real sea monkeys, but then they realized that kids were stupid, and they'd buy brine shrimp instead of a sea monkey. So they just went ahead and just started selling
cheaper
brine
and
shrimp
easier.
instead.
Yep. No, I think this was something like that. I think this was a escape thing. I honestly think some of the Dogman sightings that I get are the hyenas that have been out in the wild and have gotten big. Because if you've ever seen a hyena that hasn't been kept in captivity and is just allowed to get huge, and they get freaking ginormous. And so I do think that's some of the sightings. But yeah, there we go.
So-
Dover Demon, happy anniversary.
Now we're
Next
gonna
year's the 50th.
go ahead.
Let me
go
just.
ahead.
I just asked AI what's the closest match to a known animal, just to see what it would be, and it comes back with best answer: juvenile deer, best balance of eye size, limb proportions, and realistic presence in the area. Especially if the deer had just been hit by a car or something, or it was injured, and it would stand up on the back. I know it's a stretch, but that's what it's saying.
Nope.
Or moose, or baby moose, because of that weird shape of the head if you look at it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you get
No.
moose that far south, though.
But exotic animal bought in back of comic. Ooh, eel, mud skipper, or moose. I'm
That's
gonna
it.
go moose.
There you go.
Or
Moose.
girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah, there we go.
We're shipping
Or
midgets
get your
back then.
X-ray specs. Get your X-ray specs. That's what I would get.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
God. So, Mark, you also put this in here, and so we're going to jump on before we.
It was more recent news that I thought just added to that craziness that's been going on. David Wilcock, Ancient Aliens guy, I'd messaged him a few times over the years. He had some things to say, over the last few years, but we know his mental health has not been good because he's been going through a nasty lawsuit with Gaia, the old conspiracy theory channel that we all love. RPG and I both have specials running on that occasionally, I think. But yeah, he had this. I remember one post. It was like that he was convinced it was this powerful group that was working with him on his against him for his Cosmic Disclosure show, and he referred to it as the Dark Alliance that had been sending him death threats all the way back in 2017, and that if he kept working on the show, he'd be killed. That was the stuff he was getting, and and yeah, he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And I remember for a few years I'd been chatting with him, and he was convinced that, well, he'd been telepathically communicating with a Bigfoot. He'd been telepathically communicating with angels, and that that he was being cyber stalked and bullied, and was basically everyone was abandoning him. And yeah, I don't know. It's it was brutal to watch, but it ties in to so many other weird things going on because he hadn't been like that at all before that. I mean, he was always in touch with the aliens and Bigfoot, but they were guiding him to good things. And then this was suddenly, he just suddenly turned on a dime in the last year. And he even posted a thing last year saying about the people disappearing, the scientists and UFO researchers disappearing, that if anything bad happened to him, it wasn't him. But here he goes outside acting crazy with a gun and shoots himself in front of a dozen cops. It's some weird. I'm not saying mental health isn't a thing, but it reminded me that I had just talked to James Rink of the Secret Space Program back in October of last year. We interviewed him for Eerie Travels. And then the very next month, he had a heart attack and died right before they were supposed to do the first Secret Space Program convention.
Whoa.
And he was in his 40s or late 30s and in great shape.
So could this start leading into in RPG? Hold your thoughts a second. So the more we see online, and I know it's all social media, and I know some of it's fake. I actually tore apart one of the pieces just to see how fake it was. So we have hardliners that say we didn't go to the moon or around the moon, and then we got hardliners that say we went to the moon, and yes, this is Artemis 2. We actually went around the moon. So now all of a sudden we're up to 11, and I would throw this in as 12.
I'd say throw James Rink in, you got 13.
13. So, so it sounds like to me, if you're a deep dive conspiracy guy, that NASA is starting to go, okay, enough's enough. You got to stop messing with our funding. We've got more. I think NASA's way bigger than what we give them credit for or what we think they do. I think they're the top, almost the top of the food chain when it comes to our acronymed government societies, right? So, and a lot of these guys, just like David, we're all talking about, well, things are just not right. Things they've told us are not right. It's, and I know there's some hardliners that we landed on the moon. There's some hardliners that we never landed on the moon. So, and I think the more we pull back the curtain of NASA, I think now all of a sudden all these people are being disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Because it's weird that it's weird that some of them are dead and then half of them are just missing.
Yeah.
Missing.
And a lot of them were suicides that were no reason. There were 2 of those, and it's like.
And as a sidebar, since we're a conspiracy network, none of us are having any type of mental crisis at this moment.
Yeah. I'm always in mental crisis.
Right now.
I would never, if it happens, I would never. I have a family. I have a beautiful life. Let me just drop my theory on it real quick.
Yeah,
And not to oversimplify this, but theories are great. You can have them until they're proven or disproven. It always comes down to who do you believe, right? With Bigfoot, you can interview 1,000 people, and I guarantee amongst that, you're going to go, man, that first responder that had 3 encounters, I trust them. I believe them. So what I think is coming, how about this, is a massive alien psyop. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what it is, but it's coming. This disclosure to me is all bunk. It's all
Mirrors.
Humans playing with advanced technology and doing stuff. So here's what I think. I think right before you're about to pretend to be God and show people stuff that's going to literally wow them with the technology we have, from advanced drones, 3D holographic stuff, everything, you first need to eliminate any people that have a voice that people would trust, that will go against the narrative. You have to pick those apples or those chickens and kill them because they're too smart. Once you eliminate all that, then you can bring this in, because who do we turn to know if it's real or fake? There's no voice defending the fact, except maybe me at the moment, that it's all going to be bullshit. Because you're telling me intelligent life from the stars, let's say if it comes from there, or from terra firma, from the lands beyond the wall, they're going to show up and act just like us, act like assholes. Are you kidding me? Like, I just don't buy into that. Anyone that smart should be enlightened enough to come and kumbaya with us, not just be like, we want your gold, So that's my 2 cents. They're getting rid of everyone that has a voice that would go against the narrative for what's coming.
But Anthony, you have a buddy that literally puts satellites in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
High altitude balloons.
And what's that?
High altitude balloons. What he's putting in space. If we want to
one went up on the Artemis 1 mission. And so if Artemis 1 went around the moon, okay, and sent back the telemetry and the data and everything that they got, then why didn't Artemis 2 go around the moon? I don't see a reason why not. It's, same at SSDD, same ship, different day. Sorry.
That's very clever.
I like that.
That's very clever.
I love what I make up on the spot. But no, so there are things that say, yeah, we've done a lot of stuff ourselves. I think compared to 13 people, when like I said, last show, when I ran the numbers, that's 13 out of about 700,000 who are all in just the actual aerospace tech industries. Now, if you want to start adding on, alternative science researchers, there's a million of those hanging around. And, if you go all over the world, let's just pick 10, 15,000 more here. And so we've got 2 guys that died in 6 months. And I don't think you're looking at enough numbers. You're not looking at an Oklahoma bombing of NASA. We all know why Oklahoma was bombed. Okay, we won't go into that. But the point is, when you need to take out a large number of people, you take out buildings full of people doing that thing. Picking off one or two doesn't make any difference. And so I don't think
those
we're
people are
looking at.
indoctrinated, Anthony. They're completely indoctrinated.
Yeah.
You don't have to get rid of everyone because they buy into it. You want the ones that are like
happy with the paycheck. Yeah, everybody else has the paycheck. They don't care. It's and honestly, and some of these guys were the ones that had the exact right level of access. Now, I'm not combining the UFO guys with this. I am just saying I'm saying that just awkward that these two guys died within a few months of each other, and they happen to be along the same lines. And
Nick Pope. Nick Pope.
Yeah. Well, Nick Pope suddenly got cancer. That suddenly
turbo cancers. Turbo cancers are a thing now.
No. Wait. Hold on. So Nick was sick. Nick was sick a long time ago.
He was.
Well, he beat it. Yeah, he'd beat it, and it came back.
But I'm telling you, once you've got it,
it's
to come back. It's like, I mean, it can hit you.
It comes back fast.
Boom.
It comes back fast. That's what happened to my dad. Yeah. So I get that.
Nick, I think was not. I don't think Nick was rushed off this earth. I think he was. Unfortunately, he was sick. And in the last 2 or 3 years, you could watch him. You watch him degrade and get thinner and thinner and thinner. And I think the last interview that I saw him on was about 6 months ago. He looked horrible. I don't care how much makeup they put on him. He looked bad. So
it's just like what's happening to RPG. He just keeps getting thinner and thinner and thinner.
No, you got to stop that, RPG. Come on, show us those guns, baby.
I'm into fasting. We got to do a whole show on fasting, and I will teach you fools how to heal even the worst that afflicts you. Yeah. But that's another sidebar to go with barefoot.
Another for later. No, it's what gets me is it's all the JPL scientists. They're the Jet Propulsion Laboratory guys.
Yeah.
That's like 6 of these, and there's not that many at JPL.
Have you seen the social media clip where they've got the astronauts coming off of out of the return lander, not lander, but the return gangway, and you see, all these people were shooting all this video, and all the video phones weren't showing the right things. Well, if you took that, I should have saved it. I should have put it in today's show. I didn't think we were going to go this deep. You can actually see it, and you can see as those people move, the video tracks. And it's tracking like 2 frames off. So it's not keeping up with the phone. So that was all made up. So I'm just saying there are some stuff that they're pushing out there. And I'm like, so when I got in there and slowed it way down, the phone that was supposedly shooting a different set, the video didn't float with it. It didn't move. It was move over frame over frame over frame over. They tried, but they didn't do a good job, and they rushed it out. So, but anyway, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. So, we're going to jump into.
I didn't have much on it. I just wanted to throw that guy in.
Yeah, because
he's not getting any press.
We have a faker.
Didn't get any press.
But right now we're going to go to Michael, because Michael doesn't talk much. So we're going to talk.
Michael's the man's man.
We're going to let Michael talk a little bit about this. We're going to talk about dogmen.
Michael, tell us about your feelings.
Yeah, how do you feel, Michael? Are you blue?
No. I like to listen, because when you listen, you learn.
We could all learn from you then, Michael.
Yeah, but it would be a very quiet show.
Yeah. So, Michael, what is this? What are we talking about here, buddy?
Yeah, what is this?
Okay. Last September the 5th, I was down in the woods where I hunt, and was looking for one of my trail cameras because I have one that beamed back to my phone. I had another that I had set looking back toward a camera, because the deer had just disappeared. They were gone, and I couldn't figure out why. And I had another camera that I had set further up on the hill. So I was looking for the camera that was up the hill. I misplaced it. Just a dumb move. Couldn't remember where it was at. And I had that feeling that I was being watched. I wasn't afraid. I just felt like something was off. And as I'm going up the hill to my left where the shot is, I see what I think possibly is a stump. And I kept watching it. It didn't move. And being the goofball I am, I took a picture of it, waved at it, and walked off. Went, found my camera, and when I came back down the hill, this thing was not there anymore.
Can
So
we
at that, go ahead.
no, just can we get closer on that image? It looks
Yes.
like there's ears and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, but no bigger.
Give me a second.
Give it a little Viagra. Let's go.
That's it, right?
Here we go.
Oh man, look at that. And it's that hyper black against anything. You can even see that kind of black at night in shadows. I had a recent sighting here in Florida during the day that was that color black. Dude, that's crazy.
Now, when I went back to the location a little later on, this is where John and I found the hair samples that we sent to have DNA tested. I took another shot of me standing in that area. Of course, this was December, so you can tell there's a little bit of a size difference.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't even see you there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You're like a pimple on my ass.
And you're not a small guy.
No,
Nope.
I'm 6 foot, 250. I'm a
Yep.
big dude. And if you'll notice how finite the hairs are, and I call them hairs. This is not like fur. It's non-tubular.
Wow.
There's no what do they call the cortex?
Yep.
Somebody help me out here. I drew a blank. Anyway, this is like 20
Okay.
hairs in this one strand, and they're barbed. There's small little barbs all over this hair.
This is exciting.
Really?
You give me chills, Michael. You give me chills.
Mm-hmm.
So you think you saw a cynocephali? Did I say that right, Mark? Cynocephali?
Yes.
Dude.
And to be honest, I didn't believe in them. I always thought it was misidentification of a Sasquatch because I saw one when I was young. There was no denying it. It ran across a field in front of us. I knew what I saw. But with this, I had to back up and think my way through this. And when we sent it off for DNA sample, I really wish we could get some university that would pick this up. I still have more hair samples so that we could get the printout of this so that we can break it down for the markers and everything. But they sent it back. It came back as 40% canine, 40% unknown, completely unknown, but there was a 10% human. And with the 10% human, I thought, well, that could be contamination, because of the
from
way
you
we
handling it.
specimen. Yes. So the next one that I took, I picked it off, not with my fingers, and went straight in the plastic bag. So it's a cleaner sample at this point anyway.
And the 40% unknown usually just means not something to be in that area, not something known to be in an area. They will do further testing, but they don't have, they're not looking for things like that. That's where that 40% unknown comes from. And
from what John was telling me, the guy that actually did the DNA test on it wants to come down and actually do some more DNA in the area. The problem is he can't, with the position he's in, he can't publicly come out and say, I put my name behind this because it would jeopardize his career.
So,
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Because
It's
he's a Connecticut boy.
Yeah.
He'll end up
But-
like these
now,
scientists
that
missing.
area,
Working for
I
a
do have
major
to
lab.
ask, where is this North Georgia? Where is this? Or is this? Where is
It's
it?
about 350 feet from the side of my house.
Okay.
North
Okay.
Georgia.
So, because I've got one thing that, playing the numbers game is, because I get tons of sighting reports and all that because I'm Mr. Eerie, Florida, Eerie, Appalachia. So basically for every 5,000 bears, areas where black bears or brown bears are, you get 1%, you're guaranteed to get a Bigfoot sighting. So I know a lot of those are just misidentified. So for every extra 1,000 bears, doing the numbers, that probability goes up 4%. So the more bears you have, the more Bigfoot sightings I get in that area. So that's what I always just let that sink in every time you see. But now the people who see it clearly, no question, all that, that's the 1% the 1% of those that I'm interested in, because the pattern in that is unmistakable. But Yeti.
Now we do have bear sightings here. Generally, we have a female that comes through in the fall and in the spring. I always get her on my trail camera. She comes and sits at my feeder, pulls the top off, eats her beta corn, and she's gone the next day. This year, she never came to the feeder.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, this thing sat dead still for how long?
I sat and watched it for
long
at
enough for him to
least
get a
5
picture of it.
minutes. It sat there for at least 5 minutes and never twitched.
And then you left, you come back, and it's gone. So it was waiting for you to leave.
Yep.
Okay, that's not bear behavior. Bears don't give a damn.
No, bears don't do that. But that's again,
it's Bigfoot behavior.
It's one of those. It's just the numbers game. You got to play that as a skeptic.
Right. And Mark, I'm going to flip that around on you. Okay. All that means is that they share common preferences.
That's my thought too.
Terrain, water, caves. I mean, whatever it is, they share that territory. And so when you find more of one, you'll find more of the other. So maybe we need to look at the other way around and say, gee, how many bears are there for every Sasquatch sighting?
Well, and also, if you look at those, they always show those Bigfoot sightings maps, and they say, oh, look, it overlaps the cave system. It overlaps this. It also overlaps where the people are, because that's where the people are who can see the things. There's a lot of areas we don't see Bigfoot because nobody lives there.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
Well, I always go back to the moniker off of
if a Bigfoot poops in the woods and there's nobody there.
Yep. No, that's always the thing, because I get so many sighting reports, and then the next day I'll find out, there was a bear caught in the area. Okay. But now, does that mean they're putting bears in to hide the fact that there's things out there? That could happen too.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
The first place I would go, because the bears, great. Love it. I obviously want it to be real. You gave me chills and made my hair stand up. Thank you so much. I know the audience is going to love this. This is my favorite part of the show. I would look immediately into an Island of Dr. Moreau type scenario. Where is the nearest underground base near you? I know there is Indian tribes, Arkansas, that they believe that they started as wolves and became human, the dog-headed people we talked about. But I would start with the base. I think Island of Dr. Moreau, I think genetic manipulation has been going on for much longer than we've been led to believe. And I think sometimes these assets escape or get out or are actually sent to it's almost like a wink to you.
That happens over in Northeast Tennessee.
I'm going to take you on a little deeper dive for that, on something that I've thought of.
We got it. We've only got 3 minutes left, and we've got to get our figure fiction in.
Yep.
Okay.
Rock on.
Here we go.
Okay, figure fiction. Save it for next week.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Now I'm standing there. I'm shooting a video. Oh, naturally.
Hey, I know that costume.
Hey, doesn't that guy, wasn't he at
Jack Link? That's the Jack Link.
Yeah.
That's the Jack Link's costume. Oh, man. Even the same grin on the chin. Yeah, that's the Jack Link.
Try to hide it. They didn't even try to hide it.
No, didn't even change heads. Jesus.
So everybody watching us, if you've got something you want to have looked at, send it to us, and then we will look at it, and we will find out if it's fake or fiction. But yeah, to me that's pretty lame.
But anyway, I'm sorry, but if you're out there in the woods and you see that, you are not going to let me panic and drop my camera in a couple seconds.
No.
Okay. And unfortunately, the quality of the video is so good that although you see, that's a super zoom from the original shot. The problem is he was shooting in 4K.
Yeah.
And so So we could just zoom right in on that sucker and go, oh, we know whose costume that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to do it, get your own costume, man. Do the
Right.
get,
So
Or doctor it.
more
Yeah, doctor it.
to make
So
it better.
next week, I think Mike needs to come back and let's talk about all these. Sorry, the
Cost.
island of Moreau. Yeah,
Uh-oh, John's
Mhm.
next.
Yeah.
I'm next.
All right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
with that all being
Already
said,
got him.
boys and girls, this has been a great show. Let's share, like, all this kind of fun stuff. And you know what? So I'm going to start playing a different song that we have. So this is a new song for that we've got for old our RPG boy.
Yep.
And you know what? I'll take us out on this right here because so if you've got questions, if you need stuff analyzed, make sure you send it to us and we will literally take care of it on air. And if you want to be a part of the show, you are more than welcome. You know what? Call us, text us, email us, and let us know you want to be on, and we will have you on. I'm hoping RPG can get Maria or Russell or one of those big guys on there. So, yeah, we have a new song for RPG.
Fantastic.
All right, everybody. We will see everybody next week on the ParaGeeks. See you, everybody.